To summarize the case we just saw, so one is a flying car. So they want to queue in a line and within time, so he fly into the air. The second case is a car having a stretchable legs, so they can lift up and higher than other car and move above the rest of the cars. But can you think about the deeper level? Can we dig a tunnel or we travel beneath the road? Yeah, it's possible. You can think about it. And meanwhile, if you think about a transport, there's one solution actually already happening beside us. What is that? My thinking is the double-decker bus. Okay, now let's come back to the engineering design process. So this is a very, very rough guideline of 7 steps for the engineering design process. So you can see line by line, problem definition, external search, internal search, evaluation and selection, and few more. So we'll go through them one by one, so I don't read all of them here. Okay, first one, product design specification. So in short form is PDS. So PDS is important because most of the product failures can be traced to one of the elements in PDS. So product design specification is a statement of what a not yet designed product is intended to do. Its aim is to ensure that the subsequent design and the development of a product meets the needs of the user. The PDS acts as the initial boundary in the development of the product. Okay. So let's summarize the PDS. Actually, the PDS is a skeleton of the product design. So he may draw a boundary, or he may mention about required features or functions and so on. So it is very, very closing sometimes to the engineering specifications. So now we discuss about a product design specification versus engineering specifications. So the PDS is a specification of what is required, but not the specification of the product itself. Of course, at the starting of the project or finding a solution, you only can suppose and have a study. You can't have the details at the starting. While engineer and a product specification will describe the actual product once the product has been designed. That means after a process, finally we convert this solution into a product. So when we are providing a product or solution to the users, we need to specify the details. So the difference between these two, PDS and the engineering specifications, is important since describing the product itself at the stage of creating a PDS, which contains a range of alternatives that are considered during the design process. Let's continue to discuss about product design specification versus engineering specification. So the distinction between these two can be seen as a difference. PDS is saying what does the product do? So focus more on functions. And engineering or product specification will focus on how will the product do it. Now let's look at a case study again. Yeah, for example, smartphones. So when you are designing smartphones, you may focus on the functions of the smartphones. So they can call, so they can email, they can SMS, then they can install the apps so as you have more applications. Here we are showing one page that is a Samsung Galaxy S5 Note as well as Alpha. Yeah, so different products. So you understand this page actually is talking about engineering or the product specification instead of PDS. So now let's move into the details of a PDS. So what are the PDS? How can we define the PDS? Okay, now, so the element of a PDS, let's say performance. So that's by user. So user may request about speed, capacity, power, accuracy, and so on. So this is the input from users. And when we are looking at a PDS, so we need to look at the environment, life in services, maintenance, so target production cost, as well as shipping. So there are many details and each item. You can include the quantity information and the PDS. Yeah, for example, now is April or going to May. If you are marketing a product and you're targeting the Christmas, so you need to think about it, how many products you can sell and what's the manufacturing process, how long it will take. So based on this, you can do the market analysis. Of course, that is manufacturer's consent. Yeah. So it's a design constrained by existing facility, are parts to be contracted or assembled in-house. So we continue to look at overall picture, so the size and the shape of the product. So this is critical to marketing. For example, when you're designing a smartphone will be another product to the customer. You need to consider about if there's a product following the people going everywhere. So that should be small enough, light enough, and so on. Yeah. So light means the weight information. Yeah. As well as the design. So if the design is fantastic, what the color, what's the shape, then what's the texture, what the finishing, and so on. So some users are very sensitive to color, some are very sensitive to shape. Yeah, so you need to consider about this. Materials. So this is also under marketing scope. Yeah, so some codes to follow or some regulation to follow. Especially now we need to have some biodegradable material. So that is required for certain product. So product lifespan is also under marketing and the care of manufacturing, because the life of the product as a marketable entity, several months or several years. So what is the lifespan for your smartphone currently? 2 years, maximum 4 years, possible. So in PDS, we also need to consider about the laws and the standards. So that's governed by government or other ergonomics. So that is a very good design. So this is required by user, or you think about on behalf of the users. Okay, quality and reliability. So this is critical to marketing, but sometimes this kind of quality or design spec may cause some other safety issue, and that will be a disaster for the company if they did not take care carefully. And the testing information, so that is good for marketing, and actually that is done by the QA department or QA process. So why I say it's good for the marketing, for example, if you are holding, okay, smartphone again, we know that there's one testing process for smartphone called drop test. So there are different standard and different way of dropping the product or smartphone from a certain height go to different kind of the ground to test the product design, to test the fitting, or to test the materials. People can share this information, very minimum or generic information, to users who does not understand what the job tests do, but that is good for marketing. These are standard. Shelf life, so that is storage, important for retail sectors. Yeah. So processes like a company guideline, use of a certain standards, GD&T, for example, use of the certain procedures. If we're still looking at the handphone, yeah. So without mentioning about semiconductor parts, we just think about mechanical part as well as assembly process. So without controlling GD and T properly, so you can't assemble them together. Of course, this may lead to a fail to the job test or maybe other test. So time scale, so there's a deadline management. So this is talking about cases of if you want to market it during the Christmas season, then you must have the process control. Safety is critical for users. So for company or the one who producing this product, you need to pay attention to the government requirements as well as legal issues. So what safety requirements are mandated by the government, professional society code and conduct, code and standards. So need for warning labels. So for warning labels, for example, we are playing with toys. If the toys having the small components, we must have some warning labels on the surface. Okay, other thing like likely degree of abuse or misinterpretation of operating procedures. So this may cause lawsuit. Company constraints, yeah, that is for management. So they need to understand the compatibility with other products, yeah, other products, and documentation, management and the legal department. So a product design must include a full formal documentation per company guidelines, safety operation and the service documents and so on. So in one word, if you are think about a handphone, when you purchase a new handphone, what do you get? Yeah, you definitely have done some documentations and a lot of very small text, I think, which I cannot see now. Yeah, so these are part of the documentation. So legal matters leave to the lawyers. So what product liability, so lawsuit are associated with similar product and why. So we engage professionals like lawyers, then they will work for this area and take about this area. So note for legal terms, of course, this is mentioned about related to some definitions, yeah, to reduce the chances of confusion. Installation. Many products must interface with other products or to be assembled with other products. Uh, Depends on the product, really depends on the product. So disposal, so this is required by government. So we need to have the product, green product, so it has a minimum impact to society. Okay, a list of the PDS or elements to be included in your PDS. Okay, now we have a short case study here. For example, what product we want to have? Yeah, we want to have a rope climber. Yeah, want to have a rope climber. So what are the requirements or features or functions we can do with this product? So we move on. So product design specification as a customer needs. So customer required climb fast enough. So affordable as a birthday present. Yeah, cannot be too huge. and fully assembled. And you just plug and use. Use batteries as the power supply, and the product is safe, looks good, play music as it climbs. Yeah. So glows in the dark for maybe easy targeting. Maybe you can find them once it's lost in the dark. So lifespan, it can last for a long time. So this may be the requirement from a customer. With a customer requirement in mind, so we move on to the product design specification. So here we further split the PDS into top level as well as the lower level. Well, looking at the customer's input and we define the PDS, let's move on to engineering specifications. So in engineering perspective, we'll look at how fast is fast, how accurate, and what's a high performing. So when customer saying it's light enough, small enough, portable, or easy to use, product is safe and stylish. So how can you describe this in the measurable way? So as the best way is set up a metrics and the targets. So designers have maximum option in accomplish the PDS. So that should be measurable. Okay, one example of good and bad engineering specifications. So for example, the PDS is the dog feeder must not tip over when bumped or pushed by a dog. So the not good engineering specification is talking about dog feeder must weigh 50 pounds. So a better idea or better engineering specification can be the dog feeder must withstand 30 pounds applied to its top from side. So different way of explaining about engineering specification. Okay, so let's come back to the rope climber. So in engineering specification, we say fast or slow. We say the speed. Yeah, so can climb the rope climber can climb at 1 feet per second or faster. So retail cost is to be less than $30 to fulfill the birthday present requirement. So uses two AA batteries, and that is not included. So this can be found from the product documentation easily. Then has no removable small parts. So this is for safety. So music loudness between 20 to 30 dB. So this is to really specify the music. Otherwise, it's too mild. Might not be so how to say obvious enough for the users. So luminosity is to be more than 5 watt. Yeah, so we really give them the brightness, and it works for more than 3 hours on 2 AA battery. So this is very specific. Okay, like this we have come to the end of part 1. So that is design process. Actually, we focused on the product design specification. So we go through with the product design specification. Then we have compared with the engineering specification. Yeah. Followed by the case study. The main one is a rope climber. Okay, see you next time. I believe if you really have one product in your mind, so you relate all the text to the product, then you will understand this PDS easily. Okay, thank you.